Poppy Flux album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here and I chat about this latest from Poppy. She, you know her by now, or at least have probably stumbled upon her YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen some of her early videos, you probably should. But she is no stranger to putting out records. This is her 4th album. And honestly, while going into it a couple of years ago, I didn't think I was going to enjoy Poppy's music. A lot of her music does have some merit to it. Like, I thought her debut album, Poppy Computer, was a very sweet, enjoyable, bubblegum pop and hyperpop album. As much as I did enjoy it, though, in my mind, it seemed a little one and done to me. Like, at the time, I don't know, I just kind of felt like she, stumbled into a recording studio and just figured she would try her hand at an album, and it ended up being pretty good. However, since then, she's released a few more really good projects as well. Like Am I a Girl? I thought this project was a lot better than her debut and a really interesting album. It was grittier. It just seemed much more real. It seemed like it had some teeth to it as well. Not only was she trying out new genres of music, but she was bringing in some more personal topics. Not only that, but she just wasn't, bubblegumming her way to a catchy pop tune. All of a sudden, I felt like her musical career just seemed to have a lot more merit to it. Now, I had a lot of conflicting thoughts on her last album. I disagree. On one hand, it was daring and brave and inventive and really creative, as well as she, dove into the metal genre. But some of the deep cuts were also some of the worst tracks that Poppy's put out in years. That being said, leading up to this album, she's shifted her sound a little bit again, going in a much more alternative rock throwback direction. And honestly, I've been really impressed by some of these singles, especially the title track, which starts this album off. This is just a big, bold sound, the likes of which I was not expecting. Her performance at times is very angelic on here, even though it does open up very nicely for the chorus. It also has a big, meaty riff. With her last album, I disagree. I kind of felt like some of the later experiments didn't pan out. But then I hear this, and I feel like Poppy is just so much more confident in this. It also just happens to be one of the catchiest tunes she's wrote in years, I think. For me, she's definitely back in my good graces, and not only that, she sounds confident as hell. Lessen the Damage, on the other hand, just has no right being as good as it actually is. This is a serious throwback of a track that just has no care with how dated it could have sounded. No, it actually is a really tasteful throwback. It's sharp, it's snarky, it's full of attitude, just really well written. On the level is really sleek as well, shockingly so. Like I said, I feel like it's been a while since she's just sounded like so at home in the sound of what she's doing. And yeah, I disagree, may have had bigger and bolder experiments. This, to me, just seems like her speed. And something about this sound just takes me back. That's right, the year is 2021 and Poppy is making me feel nostalgic. There are some tracks, though, that do rub me the wrong way. Like So Mean, I think it's by far the worst track here. And this is honestly like what I worry we were going to hear more of on this album. There are certainly elements of this track that are very catchy. But for me, it's ridiculously underwritten, and this is just the obnoxious underbelly that this album could have had. And sadly, some of the later tracks on this album, like the finale tracks, really let me down too. As Strange as It Seems is probably the most disappointing track here, just because of how fantastic this atmosphere is. It is dreamy, it is shoegazy. I commend the risk. Personally though, I feel like it drops the ball in other aspects. Like, for example, this is a very personal track for Poppy, but we're gonna get to this. I feel like she did that a lot better on other tracks here. Oh god, I just want to like this track so much. There's so much good here. And I feel a lot of the same things about Never Find My Place. Once again, has like a weird, dreamy vibe that just sounds so good. But it also is a little flimsy. This, to me, doesn't sound nearly as, well thought out as some of the earlier tunes on this album. There is a great deal to like here, though. It is catchy, and in the final moments, it gets pretty hectic. Personally, more than anything, I want to hear more of this in the future and flesh it out some more. On top of that, this album's pretty short. It's only 9 tracks, about 35 minutes long. I wish she sat on this a little bit longer, added a few more tracks to it, because this is a very small sample size. But after personally I was let down with some of the tracks on I Disagree, I think that Flux as a whole absolutely gets me back on track with enjoying Poppy's music. Hysteria is practically rooted in new wave and power pop, all with this very futuristic gleam to it. I swear she sounds more like Grimes every day, but it's just so sonic sounding, and I love how personal it is. And her is just so right. Like, I love the gritty riff here, just how unapologetically throwback this track is. But lyrically, Poppy continues to bring her A game, because this might be the deepest track she's wrote in years. This is just so good and makes me even more excited for her future. And Bloom is one of the most intense and grisly tracks here. Not just because of the rough and tumble riff or the tense drumming. No, this is overall so much heavier. It's also just visual and very real. And like I said, this is another very personal track from Poppy. I feel like we're watching her grow and mature with each album, and that's very exciting. So yeah, I was not expecting the shift in sound on this album. She's taken to the sounds of throwback alternative rock really well. Riffs are great, she sounds confident, and lyrically, this is her most deep work to date. And yeah, for me, it's a little bit of a small sample size, and still, I wish that she would just go head first into this and try to expand on this even more. But still, I am most certainly back to being a fan of whatever she's going to do next. I'm feeling a very strong 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.